Hey, Brian King here. I want to share a real neat strategy with you. And to give you a little context, one thing we know about our kiddos with Asperger's, ADHD, and so on is they can get caught up in this real nasty habit of blaming. They blame everybody else for their problems. They blame the furniture for being in the wrong place. They blame their pencil because they wrote down the incorrect answer. They are the consummate victims of the universe. They don't take responsibility for everything. So let's figure out here how we can turn blaming on its head, shall we? I first was introduced to this strategy by watching Tony Robbins do it. And I began practicing it myself. And it's a lot of fun. Whenever you feel a little helpless, this person screwed me over, or my boss was a jerk today, and how dare he treat me like that, and you feel powerless to do anything about it. You feel like a victim. Where here is how you can take blame and make it incredibly useful, positive, and as a seed for resilience. Are you ready? The strategy is called positive blaming, which is when you look at a person, you look at a situation, and you blame it for what it required of you that made you better, okay? So I'm thinking back to the time I had cancer. The timing was rotten. It happened, right after we graduated high school, and people were going on a vacation, and they were getting ready to go to college, and they were getting on with their lives. So a lot of them didn't know that I had a recurrence of the cancer. But I felt abandoned. I felt like my friends didn't care, like they went away, whatever. And for the longest time, I was bitter about that. I saw myself as a victim, as somebody that was done unto. But now when I look at it through the lens of positive blaming, I can say to those people, I blame you for not being there for me. Because you weren't there for me, I had to look within myself. I didn't have the distractions that I ordinarily might have had. I had to look into the depths of my soul. I had to face emotions, some dark places that I probably wouldn't have had to go to understand myself on the deepest level. And then by healing from all that pain, part of which was caused by you not being there for me, by having to deal with that pain, I developed a depth of compassion for other people's suffering that I probably wouldn't have come up with. So you see how that works? You blame them for doing something unjust to you because of something positive you did with it, or because of something positive you now have the opportunity to do. So let's say we're a parent now, and we have a kid that's cussing us out, threatening us, misbehaving. Typically what parents do is they take it personally. Their ego is wounded. They feel disrespected, which is perfectly understandable. But if you're using the positive blaming strategy, what you can say to them instead is, I blame you for being a little smartass. I blame you for being disrespectful. Because of that, it requires me to be patient. It requires me to look within myself and ask myself, why am I getting wounded like this? What rules are being violated here in terms of what I understand the parent-child relationship to be? It's requiring me to look at things and ask myself, can I be doing something different here? Or am I just going to go with the same old reactive nonsense? Go to your room, you're grounded, I'm taking away your Xbox for a month. None of the stuff that ever works, but makes me feel powerful for a moment. I'm not going to do that stuff anymore because you're being a little smart mouth and you're doing it consistently. You are requiring me to rethink what it means to be a parent, to learn how to be more resourceful. And I blame you for that. Now, this isn't stuff you say to the person. Part of which because maybe their brain would split open because you're confusing them with what you're doing, but also because it's not for them, it's for you. It's so that you can turn that experience of feeling done unto into something more useful, into a positive. So if your boss is a jerk, your boss is belittling, heck, I'll think about the last boss I had. He was very erratic, he was very impulsive, I never knew what he wanted from one day to the next. And there were times I went home crying that I came to work with stomach aches because he was driving me nuts. And it was because he was making me miserable that I first began thinking about opening my own private practice, okay? And this was back in like 2006, 2007. Some of my friends had been urging me to do so, to start my own practice, but I was too afraid. I wanted to stay in my comfort zone, of the 9 to 5 and being able to have a steady paycheck and all that. But this guy was making me so miserable that I said, you know what? Going out on my own couldn't possibly be worse than dealing with this guy. So I started my own practice, and within 4 months, I was making so much money I could quit my daytime job. So I blame my boss. Let's call him Jim. That's not his real name. I said, I blame you, Jim, for making things so miserable for me that it gave me the leverage I needed to consider taking a risk of starting my own private practice. And that was back in like 2006-07, and it is now 2016, and I'm working with people internationally. And I blame you for pushing me so hard that I took that chance. You see how this works? And I see Debbie and Antigone, you came a little bit late to this, but no worries, it's recorded. And I'm glad that you two joined, because I really want you two, in particular, to listen to the entirety of this lesson. I think it's going to help you very, very well. So I've given you a couple examples of how positive blaming works. I want you to try it out, and I want you to come back and comment underneath this video and tell me if it was helpful for you. And if there are a few gaps in it, let me know, and I'll see if I can fill those gaps in to make this even more effective for you. So let me know what was helpful. Share this with other people who could benefit, and have an awesome day, and we'll see you again soon.